good morning, and happy Saturday, everybody. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I was talking with somebody that needed me, so um, I needed to take care of that before I could go live. But thank you, everyone, for joining me. Let me know if you can hear me and see me all right. I do have a Mr. Pickles that's a little ornery this morning, so I do apologize for squawking today. Hopefully he doesn't do it too much, but um, I don't know. It's nice outside, and I was going to do this live outside, but I didn't have enough time. There was a bunch of stuff going on this morning. So um, I want to thank everybody who's here so far, and let me know if you can hear and see me all right. It's been a crazy week. So, hello, Larry. Welcome, welcome. I forgot to drop the link. So if anybody would like to join me this morning, you are more than welcome. Like I've said before, it's an open panel. We talk about anything and everything that's going on in your life this past week that you would like to share. Be great. So I did drop the link, and just one of those mornings. It's a little rough. It's not been a good morning so far, so hopefully it'll get better. Today, Tommy and Jazzy are going fishing. So, again, I bought Jazzy some new fishing equipment that she wants to try out. So, she's super excited. So, hello, Berryman81. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah. So, how is everybody's day so far? Mine's been not so good. But it is a beautiful Saturday. The sun is out. It's a little breezy. And all I can do is have faith that it'll just get better and better and better. So, again, I apologize for the birds in the background. They want to go outside and enjoy the air, fresh air. So they have to wait. I did put a video up on Instagram of Mr. Pickles in our bird bath, and he loved it. So then he realized I had the camera, and then he had to, strike a pose, little ham. So, but how is everybody else's day so far? How's everybody's week? I don't know what's going on. Give it a few more minutes for people to join. Hello to the lurkers. Good morning. Much love. Thank you for joining. So I did drop the link in the chat for anybody who would like to join and talk about their week with me. That'd be awesome. But I can, in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about my week. Maybe get it started. It was a good week, and then it got pretty bad. My anxiety was through the roof, and took a couple days for it to come down. And then yesterday was a great morning. Tommy and I went live, and we had so many people on the panel and chat. It was amazing. Thank you, everybody, for that. But my anxiety was just through the roof. It was bad. Somebody who I thought was my friend allowed somebody else to be just nasty. And unfortunately, this person got caught in the crosshair of it, and things will just have to play out the way they're going to play out. But it really messed with me mentally, and I shouldn't have allowed it to get to that point. But when you have anxiety and you have mental health, sometimes you can't control what or how it becomes affected. And so with that, it was a horrible time. But once I got out of it and was able to look back and breathe and all that, you know, I trying to learn to be stronger, but sometimes when things happen, you just can't control how you react with your mental health. And my anxiety was through the roof. So, and it is what it is, you know, it is what it is. And I'm good now, and everything is going to play out the way it needs to play out, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can only control the things that I'm able to control. And so I just have to work on it myself and get through what happened. So, and it, like I said, you know, to each their own. It's, you know, things are going to happen. There's not much you can do about it. So just control what you can. And so I needed to get a better grasp on my anxiety, and I think I've got it so far. But then this morning we had some issues here in the house, and I don't know what to do at this point with that situation with my son. Thought things were good, but it puts a damper on everything that goes on, you know, the good things. And so I don't know how to process the situation yet. So it's just one thing after another. But anyway, I want to talk about good stuff. So how is everybody else this week? Now that I shared mine. How you doing, Larry? How you doing, Barry, man? 81. How are you doing, everybody that hasn't said hi in chat? I have a message. Oh, hold on, I gotta answer. I have to answer a message. And I don't know if I spelled the word right. I hope I spelled it right. I'm horrible at spelling. Well, I'm glad that you're doing good, Larry. That's awesome. Anybody else going fishing today or have plans on going fishing? That's what Tommy and Jaslyn are doing today. Right. I stink at spelling. How many other people don't or aren't able to spell very well? Oh, Larry, that's Mr. Pickles doing the what we call the wolf whistle. Hello, fishing and picking. You already went fishing? Did you catch anything? Anything big? Anything big? You know how fishermen, they like to say they caught a fish this big, but it was actually this big. I always pick on Tommy about that because he'll be like, oh, I caught a really good fish. And then he'll send me a picture and it was tiny. I love you, honey. You're not a fishing fan, Barry? That's okay. I'm not much of a fisherman either. Hello, True Alliance flag. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I used to go fishing a lot when I was growing up, but now I am not so much into it. I tend to catch a lot of other people's fishing equipment in the water. So I don't, it's not fun to catch other people's fishing equipment when you want to catch a fish. So I don't fish much. So maybe once a year I'll go fishing with Tommy. A couple years ago when the kids were in school, they're homeschooled now, but a couple years ago, the every Wednesday, Tommy and I would go out on the boat and I would fish with them for a couple hours. And then I actually caught a northern, and I kept saying, I don't want to catch one. I don't want to catch one. Those things are creepy. And so I threw, my line out and caught a flipping northern. I was like, yep, I'm done. I'm done. Those things were too creepy. I mean, he was a good size, but I just wasn't. It's just not my thing. I'll go and now I'll go if I go. I will take a book with me from now on, just so that I'm with everybody in the family when we go. But at this point, I'm just not a real big fisherman. And yes, Mr. Pickles sometimes sounds like a dog. There are times where he will start laughing randomly at absolutely nothing. And his laugh is so funny. But because he's got a higher pitch when he laughs, it sounds really bad on the mic. And so he actually went to sleep now, which is nice. So hopefully he won't be too obnoxious when he wakes up. But yeah, he makes different sounds. Tommy taught him woodpecker. So now when Tommy goes, show me woodpecker, he'll take his beak and he'll peck on the side of the cage, or his cage. And yeah, he sounds just like a woodpecker. It is the funniest thing. And July 5th will be 1 year that we've had him, and he has come so far. He's got PTSD like me, and we're healing together. And he's so much more interactive than he was when we first got him. So it is awesome to see his progress. True Alliance says, I don't like freshwater fish, but I used to deep sea fish when I lived in California. My dad, so I was born in Florida, and I lived there until I was almost 11 years old. And my dad used to go deep sea fishing out in the ocean, and they liked sharks. They like to try to catch sharks. Me, I never went. I was not. I don't like the ocean. I don't like water, bodies of water. So the boat has to be very secure for me to get on, and I won't go into lakes or the ocean past me not being able to see my feet. That's about as far as I'll go. If I can't see my feet, I don't go. And so I guess it's a phobia because of what happened to me when I was growing up. And so it's when I was younger. So let me tell you the story. Tommy picks on me about mermaids and stuff. And I love mermaids. I love, things like that. But when I was younger, we were swimming in the ocean, and something grabbed a hold of my ankle and pulled me under. And when they pulled me out, I had, it looked like a handprint with suction cups around my ankle. And so ever since then, I've been terrified of, like, I'll go in swimming pools, I'll go in hot tubs, but I won't go into any type of body of water that that I can't see past my feet because of that experience. And I see we have a couple people that joined. Hello, Sam. Good morning and welcome. Hello, Glenn. Swamp Picker, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to drop the link again for anybody who would like to join. You are more than welcome. There we go. And so, but so yeah, so it's been, I have a lot of things that have happened to me in my life, and so that one was probably one of the scariest things that I ever experienced growing up, other than the big old spider that was in our closet when we lived in Florida. That was probably the size of my dad's head. And somebody in one of the chats was talking about spiders. One of the lives that I was in was talking about spiders, and they mentioned this one particular spider. I can't think of what it is now, but I I looked it up, and sure enough, that was the spider. Now I can't think for the life of me of what it was. I don't like spiders. I don't like snakes. I don't like bodies of water that you can't see through to the bottom. Um, you're listing and listening in. Awesome, cool, Sam. Hello, Susie Woozy. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Raven. Good morning. It's. How are you doing today? Yeah, Tommy doesn't like snakes. He actually doesn't care for spiders either, but in his basement a couple years ago, he had a spider that would come down and say good morning to him. I used to call her Charlotte because it reminded me of Charlotte's Web, the movie. And um, she would come down. I don't know if it was a girl or a boy. I don't know. But it would come down and it would greet him every morning. And then it would go back up once Tommy would say hi. It would go back up and stay in its little spot. It was kind of funny. So I named her Charlotte, or named the spider Charlotte. I never saw it because that's just not my thing. I was not curious enough to go and look at it. And it did it every morning when he'd go downstairs to the basement. And hold on, Pickles, calm down. Remy's yelling now because Pickles was squawking. Um, you let them live in your yeah. See, and that's yeah. I don't like spiders at all. But the one thing I hate that I can't say hate. I strongly dislike our bats. We had bats in our house. Actually, we started getting bats in our house the day that Tommy's brother passed away. And so, give me 1 second. I gotta mute for a minute. Yeah, they can live in the basement with Tommy, but not in the shower. Exactly. Yeah, Pickles needs a Snickers. I apologize. I need to get him to calm down for a moment. Otherwise, he's going to squawk the whole time. So I will be right back. All right, I apologize for that. Um, I gave him his food dish inside his cage. He doesn't want to come out of his cage, but he's all chirpy now. So hopefully that'll help him not squawk. I know that's really hard on the ears, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, so what was I saying before I had to go take care of? Um, oh, yeah, I don't like spiders at all. I don't like anything like that. But we had bats. That's what we were talking about, bats. So the day that Tommy's brother passed away, we got our first bat in the house, and we had him for 3 nights in a row. And for the longest time, we were getting them every month for 3 days in a row. And I told Tommy, I said, I think it's a sign from your brother that he's still around us. And Tommy's like, no, we just have bats. But their last conversation happened to be about bats. So it's just kind of one of those weird coincidence things. And then we found out that and we looked everywhere to find out where they were coming in from, and we couldn't figure it out. Well, we cleaned out our storage room upstairs and found out that there was a gap like this between the floor and the wall, and that's where they were coming in from. So Tommy and Joseph went and put a piece of molding down so that it would stop them from coming in, and we haven't had one since. Knock on wood. Hopefully I didn't jinx us with any more bats, but those things are crazy wicked. Bats are, and I can't be around them because of the bacteria they have in their guano. So I just I don't like them. I go and hide in the bedroom when they're around. But and I think it was last year that we found or maybe 2 years ago that we found the little gap in between the wall and the floor. So Susie, you had birds too? Oh, see, no, he's going to be obnoxious today. Hoy, yoy, yoy, I'm telling you, goofball. All right. Just want to make sure that I'm responding to all messages. What kind of birds did you have? I have 2 parakeets and a monk / Quaker parrot. And Mr. Pickles is my Quaker / monk parrot. And Mr. Remington and Mr. Kaplan are my male and female parakeets. Used to keep birds. Yeah, see, I want to you had parakeets, cockatiels, canary, and a Moluccan cockatoo. I don't know if I said that first part of the cockatoo's name. I want an umbrella cockatoo. They are the psycho crazy funny birds of the parrot family. They are hilarious and salmon crested. Okay. Yeah, they're cockatoos are crazy, but like the umbrella cockatoos are like, we watch videos on YouTube about them and they're hilarious. And there's actually one that keeps to the beat um, all the time to let me think. Another one bites the dust. I wouldn't recommend cockatoo in a regular house. How come? I'm just curious. I'm just really curious. I will be right back. I'm going to see if Tommy and them are still here. Okay, I'm so sorry. They haven't left yet, so I have Jaslyn coming and getting Mr. Pickles and putting him upstairs for a little bit. So I'm really curious to know why you recommend not to have a cockatoo in a regular house. Um, I'm just curious. Oh, okay. I was petting it and didn't even realize when they don't have a mate, they bond to us. Mine switched to my ex. They pin it, get and got mean with me. Oh, yeah. See, I don't want a mean bird. Um, I just not pin. Okay, but yeah. So I mean, if I would like to get a mating pair. But Tommy's really good with birds. And so it's hilarious that Mr. Pickles, oh, it bit you a lot? Yeah, that's no, not a good go. That's not good. I I like them. I think they're cool. Tommy's really good with birds. He grew up with them. His dad had parrots, and so their friend was a vet for parrots and taught Tommy so much about it. And so you had it for 21 years. Yeah, Mr. Pickles is 11. He'll be 12 July 5th. Um, which is because I can't, some of his band is scratched off, so it's real hard to read, just because he's been through so much. And so um, we do have the year that he was born, so we don't know exactly, what his birthday is, so we just gave him July 5th, the day that we got him. So he'll be 12 July 5th. You gave it to a man who lost his pet. Oh, that was really nice of you. Wow. Yeah, you see, and that's the thing too. Mr. Pickles doesn't have a mate, and he probably never will be able to have a mate because we are suspecting the first 5 years of his life, he was forced into breeding. And so I mean, he's got scars and stuff like that all over him. And Tommy, was telling me about how they certain breeders will force them to breed and how they do it. And he has um, the damage that it leaves behind, evidence of that type of living. And when the people that we got Mr. Pickles from, they had him for 6 years. And what happens is usually they will sell off the birds when they're no longer useful for them. And so they get rid of them real cheap. And that's what happened with Mr. Pickles with people that we got him from. They bought him at a garage sale for $50. And so they just wanted to get rid of them. And it's really sad. It's really sad that people are like that, and that causes PTSD, and he has it. And I didn't know much about birds. I just knew that, like, I used to feed the birds, and I still do. I feed the wild birds outside, and they come near me and stuff like that, and it's really cool. And so me and Tommy had talked for a couple of years about getting indoor birds, and ones that were our family slash pets. And so when we got the opportunity to get Mr. Pickles, we jumped on it. And so Mr. Pickles is very much bonded to me. I am his support human, and he is my support animal. The only time he really is, about everybody else in the family, is when he's away from his cage. When he's by his cage, he is very temperamental. He's very like, his walls are up, and he gets pretty aggressive. Um, so when Tommy interacts with him on his cage, he's very much standoffish, like steps back, gives him his space, but he'll talk to him. And he taught him how to be a woodpecker, and he's taught him a couple words that aren't very nice, but we don't know for sure if Tommy taught him that or if somebody else taught him that, and he's just now finally using the words. Not really sure, but it's pretty funny. Hello, Victoria. Welcome, welcome. Um, so yeah, so he's a stinker pot, but I love him to death. And he's starting to become attached to my daughter as well. So it's good to see Jasmine's able to stick her hands in there like I am and pick him up and get him out of the cage and clean his cage and feed him. So I really like the progress that Mr. Pickles has actually has done. His progress is amazing. And so with that, it just means, for me, it's a sign that he's just only going to get better instead of worse. He gets ornery, but who doesn't? We all have our moments. Today just happens to be one of his ornery days. But I dropped the link into chat for anybody who'd like to join. You're more than welcome. It's an open panel. So I did send out the link to a couple people privately to see if they wanted to join, and it's completely all right if they're not able to make it. It's all good, all good. But what do you guys want to talk about? Let me know. Hello, Amy. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. I sent you a link if you wanted to join. Oh, we got a new heat press, mug press, not a heat press, mug press yesterday. And so found out that our mug press wasn't, there was nothing wrong with it. It's our wiring in our house okay, Amy, sounds good. It's the wiring in our house. Now, I was always under the impression that every outlet needed to have a ground wire, and it needed to be grounded. Well, I guess some of our outlets are not. And so we thought our mug press wasn't working correctly. Good morning, Grimes Finds. Welcome, welcome. I dropped the link in chat if you'd like to join. Oops, it must have went up too quick. I'll drop it again if you'd like to join. Everybody's welcome. So yeah, so we're back in business now that we figured out what the problem was. It took us a minute to realize what was going on, so we had to buy, new stuff, try to get it to work, and here it was, the outlet in our house. It was the outlet. Go figure. Be something simple. So now we have 2 mug presses, so we can get moving, get going, get everything good and go up and going. So awesome. I guess they haven't left yet. Tommy's buddy's here, so outside. So yeah, we figured it out, and it was just as simple as plugging it into one of the outlets that actually had a ground. So I don't know how to fix it at all. So hopefully Tommy can figure it out. I mean, he's good with electrical, almost said electricity, electrical work. So he's probably going to look at it and see. But our wiring here is so crazy weird. And I don't know, there is something flying around. So it's crazy. All right, so we do have a question in chat. Susie Woozy, her question is, has anyone taken medicine that's made them hungry or the opposite? I have. Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a hot mess. I am not showing my face.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so real quick, Grimstein says, morning, y'all. Getting some editing done, but wanted to listen in. Would love to come on chat soon. My kind of topic. Well, you are more than welcome, just like everybody else is more than welcome to join the panel at any point, at any time during the live, to share whatever they feel they need to share. But Amy, have you ever been on any type of medication that made you hungry or the opposite?
Is that your question or somebody in
No,
the chat asked me that?
somebody in the chat asked, the Susie Woozy asked, has anyone taken meds that made them hungry or the opposite?
I was on a mood stabilizer. I believe it was called Depakote,
Ooh,
and in a month and a half, I gained 65 pounds. It was like
yeah.
being on a steroid. I could not. I was eating until I thought I was going to throw up one day because I ate so much,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had no control over it. I was hungry, even though I was full. It was like I was always hungry, and yeah, I gained a lot of weight in a short amount of time.
I was on Depakote for 2 years and it destroyed my teeth. I mean,
I could see that.
I had an issue with my teeth anyway beforehand, like just half of it. I was hit in the face with a baseball bat by my ex-husband, and because he was trying to kill me, and somebody had walked in the house. A friend of mine walked in the house, and which slowed the momentum. So when he hit it, it shattered my teeth and fractured my jaw, but not enough to where like it was a hairline fracture, I think is what they called it. So I didn't have to have my
Mm-hmm.
mouth wired shut. Thank God. They said the doctor said um, that my friend walking into the house when he did saved my life, because it
Oh, no doubt.
slowed the momentum because he got startled. So when it hit me, it did all it was able to do was give me a hairline fracture and shattered my teeth on this side. So I had to go in for emergency surgery to have that removed. But when I went on Depakote, like the rest of my teeth were fine. And then I went on Depakote, and all of a sudden the rest of my teeth just went to hell. And so, as many people don't know, due to medications and surgeries and stuff like that, I actually have a top plate due to it. And so I'm fighting to keep what I have on the bottom. Um, and so it's just medications are crazy and it depends on how your body reacts to it. But when I was on Depakote, I actually was starving all the time. So I can relate to Susie Woozy saying, I switched meds and I'm starving all the time. This
Mm-hmm.
last medication that I was on, um, it like I would have periods of times where it was like a roller coaster ride. I never knew if I was going to be starving or if I was going to be not hungry at all. It was a bad medicine for me. What about, did you take anything else?
When I was on, hold on a second. Sorry, I have this earpiece in, and my hair was like all wrapped up in it. Um, I was on. Oh my gosh, it was an anxiety medicine. Hold on, I know the name of it. I was on Xanax. That's what it was,
Okay.
and it made everything taste so weird that I did not want to eat anything.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Like Pepsi, and okay, I'm trying to put a fan in the window. It's hot in here. But when I would drink Pepsi, it would taste like carbonated water. There was no flavor to it.
Oh,
Right. So, and I would make, I'm talking into a fan. It would make everything taste weird. So I didn't want to eat. Not that I wasn't hungry or thirsty. I just didn't want it because I knew it was going to taste
you
weird.
got robotic again. You said Xanax. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they
That's why
prescribe.
I refuse to take them, because not only does it make everything taste weird, but I can't remember anything. Like if we were to have a conversation and I was on, like if I was on right now and say 2 hours later, like, I would not remember anything.
Well, what are you doing? You sound robotic. You're like, start out real good, and all of a sudden you go robotic, and then you're clear.
It's this
I don't mean to
it's this
laugh.
earpiece. It's funny because I can kind of hear it, but I was hoping that that's not how you heard it.
Yeah, that's how we hear it,
It's like
dear.
a feedback.
All
Oh,
right,
I can't win with this thing.
right. You need a new set of earbuds, good ones.
I
So you,
have I have a Bluetooth earpiece in, but I don't know if you know who Jose is. He is sending me a good headset. So whenever it gets here in a few days, I'll be good to go.
awesome, awesome. Thank you to. I didn't catch the name, but thank you to whoever is sending her a new set of ear stuff. So I'm horrible. Real quick, hello Jennifer Hayes. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. I know that there's a couple other people. Crystal, welcome. Dwayne, welcome. Fun things to do with tech. Welcome, welcome. Want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody who recently came in. Let's see. Justin said I started taking an antihistamine for anxiety, and it works pretty good without feeling like a zombie. See, and like you were talking about the holy crap. You just said the name. I said the name, and I can't think of it. Xanax. So I don't
Hmm.
like taking it either. They do have me prescribed for it, and I probably should have taken one Wednesday to help come down off my anxiety. But it makes me tired, and I have too much stuff to do during the day to want to take it, and like I would have to take it on a day that I didn't have anything else going on. And with being a mom, I just can't, I don't like the way it makes me so tired. And then I don't eat it. I agree. It makes things taste really weird when after you take it, it affects me that way as well. And so my medication is actually a work in progress because of the fact that um, I had to get off this last stuff because it was giving me suicidal dreams, and during the day, I was becoming suicidal. Not that I would. I think they call it suicidal ideation, where you have the thoughts but you don't go through it, through the suicide stuff.
Hmm.
And I think it's called suicidal ideation. And like my dreams were so weird. It was like being in a. Do you guys know what quantum leap is? I'm sure I've asked this before, but I see we have some new people um, in chat. But there was a show that was called Quantum Leap, and he would like beam into other people's lives, and yeah, it was a TV show. So that's actually how my suicidal dreams were going. It was like I was in an episode of Quantum Leap, and I was like beaming into different scenarios of suicidal things that I was doing to myself, but I wasn't doing to myself, if that makes any sense. It was just I couldn't do it, and I had to take myself off of it. And I've been trying to get a hold of the doctor with everything that's going on now, it's really hard for them to get um, um, back to me. So I just got to keep calling and keep trying to see if they'll get a hold of
I've
me.
learned things about medications. They can make, like, whether it's your dream or when you're awake, just a thought, like, it can make you from, I mean, I don't take medication. Well, I mean, I guess in a sense I do. I just don't take a pill form medication. And I refuse to because of the experience. I've been on and off medication since I was 15.
You're robotic.
And with the
You're robotic here.
testing, is that better?
It was good for a second, and then it went robotic again.
Oh, jeez. Can't wait till I get a new one. Then I can talk normal.
It's all good. It's all good.
But some of the medications that I've been on, whether it's to help me sleep or help my anxiety or help depression or whatever, I've learned that mood stabilizers are never a good idea.
Yeah.
Because when I'm on them, I have one mood and you don't want to be around me. You don't want to talk to me. Like, that's just how it is. I'm not a very pleasant person being on mood stabilizers. Things that help me sleep, no matter how weak or strong they are, they give me nightmares. Like my dad, like in my dream, my dad committed suicide. I went to talk to my mom about it, and he's telling me the story on how he committed suicide, drove us to his funeral. It was so jacked up. Like, I don't even
Wow.
know how to wrap my mind around it. It's like something you would watch in a movie. But like
Right.
in my dream, I could feel the heat from the sun, the wind, like I could feel things.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt real. And then that was when I was on Seroquel. Horrible. That was, oh my God. That was actually the last time I took Seroquel. I'd had some really whacked out drinks, but that one was just like, I'm done. Like, I on the cake, I'm done. And I pretty much haven't taken things since. I do ever have stuff. I have anxiety, but it's actually a blood pressure.
Okay, you were robotic again.
Oh, I'm gonna go see if I can find the other earbuds. Even though they have them, I'll shove it like tape around it.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Yeah, I loved that show, and so it was really weird that my dreams were doing that, and or the I can't say dreams because they were nightmares. I mean, literally, I could feel, and I could, like, the emotions were just overwhelming, and so I took myself off of it. And I'm just waiting, like I said, for the doctor to get a hold of me so we can figure out something else for medication for myself. Because when I first started it, I felt like I had failed. And because I had tried for so long to control it without medication, because I was on Seroquel as well. I was on 400 milligrams a night, and they put me on that and another medication because I found out that I wasn't supposed to be able to have children. And so they put me on it because I guess Seroquel is a bad thing to have when you're pregnant. Well, I didn't find out I was pregnant with my son until I was 6 months pregnant with him, and I was taking 400 milligrams of Seroquel up until that point. And they had slowly started to wean me off actually before I found out I was pregnant. And so I don't know if that's why Joey acts the way he does, but I know that it's not an excuse for his behavior, and it stinks. Hello, Michelle. Welcome. I don't remember if I said hi to you or not. Was there anybody else that jumped in real quick?
Do I sound better now?
You sound far away, but at least you're not a zombie or a zombie. Oh boy, I meant a robot. I saw zombie on the chat.
One of those things, The other day I can't remember whose live I was on. Was it Victoria? It might have been Victoria. I sound like a monster. Well, I have to be careful because for some reason, when I plug these in, they have a mic to it.
Okay.
And the mic on my phone and the mic on the earbuds work at the same time, so there's a really bad echo.
Oh.
So I have to cover the mic on the earbuds and kind of have my phone almost right up to my face.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay, because I'm not on camera, so good.
Lexapro. That is the one. They gave me the generic form of Lexapro. That's the one that I just had to take myself off of.
That's the one I had an issue with. Like, I don't want to talk about that issue. It's kind of personal issue, but Oh my god, that stuff sucks. I would never take that again.
Yeah, it's hold on. Um Seroquel is a fat pill. I are I ate like a pig. Yeah, and I didn't like that either. I actually dropped weight with Seroquel, um, but because when I got pregnant with my son, um, I was 140 pounds, and then after I got off of it, I gained a lot of weight. I gained a lot of weight. And then Sam says I'm a zombie on mood stabilizers. Now I don't know the difference between mood stabilizers, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. I just know that the medications that they've tried with me so far, they work for a very short time and then they stop working. The Depakote I was on for 2 years because my doctor kept saying, nope, nope. I kept telling him it wasn't really working. And he kept telling me, nope, nope, you got to take it. It's working. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like it's working. But he argued with me, and I needed medication at that time as well. Um, so it was very, just, it wasn't fun. Um, and my weight fluctuates back and forth. I just wish that they made a medication that would help my anxiety, my PTSD, my depression, my mood swings, um, and would help me lose and keep weight off, because that would be like the and not make me um, have all those weird things that go on in my head. I mean, I fight with that stuff daily as it is, but for it to so much the suicidal ideation, I constantly have a war going on in my head, and it's some days are up, some days are downs, and that you have, or I have, where I'm like, oh yes, I'm doing great, and then all of a sudden it's like my brain's telling me, well, you have no right to feel great because your life is a mess. And it's like, wait, I don't want to listen to that negativity. And sometimes it's really, really hard. Welcome, Febreze, babies, fiber for lick. I don't know if I said that right. I know I butchered it, so I very much apologize. But welcome, welcome. Um,
Have you ever been on a medication that, like, in a sense, it changes, like, your whole mindset? Not so much in a good way or a bad way, but like the people you used to talk to, you don't feel like you want to talk to them anymore. Like you're
it
seeing
like
like their
opens your
true
eyes in a sense.
kind of.
Yeah, Crystal, that's because of Amy had to grab a different set of earphones. And so I'm kind of echoing a little bit through her phone, through her earbuds. So I can try to turn my sounds all the way down, as far as I can go.
I'll try to turn mine down. That
Cindy,
might help.
well, welcome, Cindy. My aunt's name is Cindy, but she spells it with a Y at the end. Um, so that should be pretty easy to remember, hopefully. If I butcher it or forget, I apologize in advance. Um, yeah, Victoria said, Amy, I think your other headphones were better. LOL.
You
You
want the
sounded
robot
robotic
or you want the echo?
here.
That's the choices.
You didn't sound so far away. um, Cindy said, let's see, and I'm not real good with reading medication names, so if I butchered it, I apologize in advance. I'll just make sure I pop it up on the screen so everybody else can see what it is, so that I try. I am on Supreme and Lamotrine. Sam, we need an expert here on how to say these names. Yeah, I don't know what either one of those are. I just know I've been on a lot of medications, and they actually did. Has anybody else in chat or even Amy, have you ever had that swab test done where they check to see what medications work best for you and what medications to stay clear of because they don't work? It's like a DNA test, but it's for checking to see how your body reacts to different medications, for mental health, that is. I finally have a mix that has helped me keep calmer. Yeah, I see it when I'm not on medication, and I've learned this about myself. Um, I'm very short. I'm very much like the little things like upset me that shouldn't. Um, and so my anxiety gets higher, and I want to like kind of like hide from everything. And then I get like fidgety more, and it stinks. I really don't like it. And so when I'm not, and this is something that I had to realize for myself. I get loud, not realizing that I'm getting loud. It sounds like I'm snapping on people, and honestly, I'm not. I don't feel that I am, but my voice picks up, and it sounds like it, and so it's horrible.
Is
Um,
this better?
yes, that sounds way better.
I taped toilet paper to the speaker over my phone.
Well, you sound a lot better now.
I have a creative mind. That's one
It
thing I
worked.
know very. Oh goodness. Okay, the things you do to be on YouTube. I'm gonna make a list of all the creative ways to do things like this.
Right, right. Okay, so in chat, Raven said, I was on a med holiday for 3 months, which is what, like a detox, trying to get everything out of your system so that you can try a different medication. Um, I'm just curious if that's what that is. I just started back on them 3 days ago. I cried for the last month. Yeah, I do a lot of. I'm an emotional person as it is, but I I've tried to learn different ways of coping with that emotion, and I'm not very good at it. I'm just not very good at it at all. Victoria says, wow, I would have never guessed. Victoria says, I'm a total bitch when not medicated. I
See, and I'm opposite. I'm a total bitch if I am medicated. I have a stronger opinion and a stronger
you know what?
opinion.
I need to answer this.
Okay. I can't see the chat, so I don't know what anybody's saying.
I don't know what that was about, but okay.
I'm sorry if you can hear my neighbors. They're talk. I don't know that they're fighting. They might just be talking loud. But I'm not walking over there to find out because then they'll try to talk to me, and I'm not in the mood for that today. It's always, do you know a person in an apartment? Blah blah blah. They did, and I don't really care. As long as they leave me alone, I don't care what they do.
Right. That's like, okay, so before I went on the Lexapro, Um, like we had some questionable neighbors. We know for a fact that they sold drugs. We know that they had millions of different people in and out of their house all the time. And it would set me off. Like, I'd be like, I mean, I would be doing dishes and watch a drug deal go on. My kids live in this house. My every spring, I would have to go and search between their house and our house to make sure there was no drugs and stuff like that. And so it got to the point where when they moved out, I didn't realize how bad my anxiety was or how concerned I was about the situation until they moved. Like Tommy was like, "Why are you even letting it bother you?" And I'm like, "Because they're doing it right there, and nobody's doing anything about it." And it consumed me. Once they moved, I was good. It felt like 1,000 bricks were lifted off of me, but I also had started medication at the same time around that time.
I
So,
don't know that that has anything to do with it because my anxiety's been really. I've lived here for almost 5 years,
mhm,
and I could sleep like 20 hours a day. I never really did, but I could.
right.
If nobody would bother me, yes, I could sleep all day and all night. But since we moved in here, if I'm the only one here, like I woke up when my fiance was leaving for work this morning. I don't have kids here, so it's just me.
Okay.
I didn't go to bed until like 4 o'clock this morning. He leaves at 8:30, and I'm awake
So you have
because
insomnia where you live.
right. But it's like it's not. I could sleep if I was somewhere else. Like if I was at my mom and dad's right now, I'd still be asleep.
See, that's
But
one
being
thing.
here,
Yeah, that's
and I know what they do out there. Well, maybe not out there. I see drug deals out my window. I see people on and walking around. I was here like, let's see, I moved in August, and in September, a guy walks across the gravel parking lot, right, like I live in the back part of the building. They walk behind my building to throw their trash away, and he has a needle hanging out of his arm.
yeah. You were telling me about that.
Freaked me out. I didn't say anything to him. He even offered it to me. I just stood up and went inside and locked the door. I was like, what the world did I get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
It
And
is.
then the following month is when they found that lady that had overdosed and died, and that guy put her in the woods.
Yeah, that you were
And
telling me about.
then
That's crazy.
and then when he left, he looked like a zombie. I'm telling you, what you see on The Walking Dead, not like the gore part, but like the green color skin, the drooling. That's how he came out of his apartment.
Oh,
They had him strapped down like he was. I don't know. He looked possessed. I'm not even joking. It was like the worst I've ever seen anybody.
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I still live here.
Yeah, and sometimes you're kind of stuck in the where you wish you could get up and move, but when you've got roots somewhere, it's so hard to just up and leave. It
Well,
really is.
I don't really like. I'm not really attached to anything here.
Right.
Like in this area, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in more of like a country setting. I live closer to St. Louis now, and it's more, like not that there's not drugs where I grew up at, because there definitely is. Just it's more like marijuana, not meth. Like there's a big difference between somebody smoking pot and somebody smoking meth. But up here, it's like meth and heroin and like the hardcore stuff. And then they act like fools when they walk around, and it's really scary. That's why you will not catch me outside by myself. I will not even go to the store by myself, not even right up the street. I won't take the trash to the dumpster by myself, but that's because I'm afraid of the raccoon that's going to come out at me. They're huge.
I miss you said raccoon and I instantly had a memory of Hank, King of the Hill, my raccoon I had at the campground. His name was Hank, and I named him Hank from King of the Hill because he was so much like him.
last year around this time, we had a raccoon outside, and I
Mhm.
could tell it was a little off from the others. It wasn't as chunky, we'll say, and the the raccoons around here look like bulldogs.
Oh,
Like
geez.
they're as wide as a bulldog. I'm not joking. There's 4 dumpsters for them to eat out of, and like 60 apartments,
Yeah.
and most of them have more than one person in it. So things are getting thrown away that they're going to eat. And this one was like a normal size raccoon, and he kept walking closer to me. Well, I like nature, but things like that I like further further away.
Yeah, I'm the
And
opposite.
I walk out the door. Oh, you go to try to pet the dang thing?
No,
That's
I
how
would
my
feed him.
fiance is. He tries to get him to come up to him so he could pet him. And he
I
feeds
would
him like
feed him.
Cheetos and Cheerios.
Yeah.
But one night I come home from my mom's one night after picking up the kids, and he's out there feeding the raccoons some stale Cheetos and a box of Fruit Loops that God only knows how long they were on top of the refrigerator. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "But they're so cute." And I'm like, "Oh gosh." Like, well, you're gonna be their friend.
Well, see, we learned at our campsite because our garbages would get trashed in our area. And I mean, it's a campground, you know. So what I learned how to keep our like all the campers, garbage and everything safe was I started feeding the raccoons. Well, Hank, he was big, he was slow, and I was the only one that could get close to him. Now, I never reached out and petted him or anything, but he just became like our other family member out there, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, and so we had a Maine Coon. His name was Miklo, and you swear that they were brothers, but one was a cat, one was a raccoon. But
It's so funny.
I started feeding them, and nobody's garbage around us was being destroyed. And so I learned that if you feed them and you feed them, you know, enough, I mean, it doesn't take much, they'll leave your garbage alone. Well,
Right.
I went out and bought him a special silver bowl for his water, and he had his own special food dish. And I forgot one time to feed him because I had not been feeling good. Thank you, Victoria, for stopping. Much love. Have a great day. I forgot to feed him one night, and he came to the door and made a cooing, hissing, "Hey, mama, you forgot to feed me" noise. And so I had to give him some leftovers. And because I always give them our leftovers at night because we didn't have a real big refrigerator in the camper, it was in the shed. And so I didn't feel like going to the shed. So I grabbed him some leftovers that we had inside the refrigerator. And I said, "All right, you got to go to your spot." And he went and sat up on the picnic table and waited for me to bring out his food and fresh water. And he just sat there. His favorite thing was French fries from the lodge.
That reminds me of when we fed the squirrels to keep them out of the garden. I made this. It looked like an old toolbox. I mean, it was just a few pieces of wood that I had actually hot glued together.
Hmm.
And I'm not allowed to use a drill; those are dangerous. Um, I'm just
I have
saying,
to
I'm not allowed
monitor
to.
with power tools as well.
No power tools in me. I almost cut my finger off in like 8th grade with a bandsaw.
Yeah, I'm not
So
that
yeah,
bad.
I'm
Woman.
not messing with power tools at all. I might lose an eye with a drill.
Oh,
But I would go to Walmart and get what they have for squirrels.
hmm.
And I would put some in there every day so they'd stay out of the garden. Well, they knew to stay out of the garden. One day they're sitting in the tree And I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to feed the squirrels. So I go back there and I put food in the container. They were waiting for me because as soon as I walked away, they jumped down and started eating it. It was so adorable. Like they were just patiently sitting there waiting for me to fill it up.
And that's the thing. I've noticed that people who have mental health things going on, they relate more to animals than they do people. Like they get along better with animals than they do people. Now I don't know how true, this is what I've noticed in my life. And so I mean, I absolutely love animals. I am a very big animal person, and I love my children and I love people, but I I don't feel judged by animals. Where with some people, you know how you get that feeling of being judged because of the fact that you're sharing things and they may not understand because they don't experience it. Um, but animals just don't judge. They have wild animals too. I mean, I'm just not talking about house pets. I'm talking about animals in general, wild house pets, all that. They just don't have that judgment that us as humans have. They will, if you are able to get and connect with an animal, be it wild animal or house pet, you know, it, it's a really good feeling to be able to do that. Now, real quick, Cindy said, I can worry about everything when not medicated. Girl, you are not alone. Same
That's
here.
probably why I'm a hot mess. Just saying. Because
Yeah.
once my head starts, like when I'm on to something,
Mhm.
because obviously we talk outside of YouTube, but I noticed the other day when I was helping at my grandma's, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do it. And I was just like a chicken with my head cut off. I was like, okay, time out. And my grandma goes, are you okay? And I said, I'm fine. I just need to like chill myself out because if not, I'm going to go into a panic mode here.
Yeah.
But I do, I do that once I start, like when I'm into something, I start doing it. My brain starts like going, and then it's like there's no slow down. It's just like full force. Like I can't even say the thoughts fast enough to
Yeah.
keep up because they're like going through my head before I can even get it out of my mouth.
You know, so so my son has ADHD, and then I was diagnosed with ADHD. I've had it since I was little. When I told my mom I was diagnosed with it, my mom's like, "Oh, that doesn't surprise me." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, in school, the teachers kept saying that they felt that you had ADHD and that I should go on medication, and I just gave you guys peanut butter." And I was like, "Well, that would have been something nice to know when I got older and understood so that I knew why my brain felt like it was spinning and I couldn't catch anything." But when my son was diagnosed, his doctor actually had a really good way of explaining it. And this is how he explained it. He said, when people have ADHD, everything's spinning around them and they're trying to grab at stuff to try to, have it. But when you have ADHD, you keep missing it, so it spins faster and faster and faster. It was the perfect way to explain it. You can't get things to like go into place. You just skip from one thing to another, and that's why a lot of people who have ADHD never really finish anything that they start, because they'll start on something and then they see something else, so then they get sidetracked and they go to start working on that, and then it just continues. And so I just thought that was a really cool way of explaining, ADHD and medication. The medications for that, they slow it down, but not not at a really good pace. For me personally.
My boys are both ADHD, and my youngest one, he's ADHD and ADD, which if he does not take his medication, yeah, I'm surprised I haven't. Like, I've jokingly told him if he doesn't chill out, I'm going to throw him out the window. And he thinks it's funny because he's like a freaking ping pong ball. And I'm like, dude, I can't do that repetitive stuff. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And he's always like, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, and he just continues, and it gets more annoying as he does it. And I'm looking at him, I say what, but he's still just saying, hey mom.
Yeah. It's like we have the words, but sometimes we don't know how to put them in the correct way to make them sound the way we need it to sound, or how to explain things. And me personally, I stop sometimes when I'm talking to Tommy. I will stop mid-sentence because I forgot what I was going to say, and then I start talking about something else. And Tommy's like, really? And I'm like,
oh, I do that too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Or I'll stop in mid sentence and be like, what were we talking about again? Because I totally forgot like the whole last 10 minutes of what we were talking about.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if that's fully the ADHD going on, or if it's everything else that's blending in together. I don't know. I just know that, these are things that I struggle with, and it sounds like there's a lot of people that struggle with it as well. We did have a couple new people that came in, so let me welcome them real quick. Deep end of the sandbox, welcome.
That's Lauren.
What's that?
That's Lauren.
Oh, well,
I
hello,
love Lauren.
I may forget your name, and I do apologize if I do. Just keep reminding me. Anna Mora, good morning and welcome. There was somebody else that came in. Jamie, welcome, welcome. Jamie's hooked. Welcome, welcome. I just want to make sure I got that right. I didn't want to butcher it or anything. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I see that everybody is talking in chat, which is amazing. I was like, what happened? My chat went away. I'm trying to catch up with StreamYard, but sometimes that stops on me. And so I try to catch up in the YouTube live, and sometimes that stops on me too. So I'm trying here. So here's a really good point. So normally people who are on medications that I've seen, and people that I've talked to, I talked to a lot of people behind the scenes. This is a really good point to bring up. She said, I just stopped because I was better and didn't need I knew better. A lot of times, people who are on medications, and I'm guilty of this as well, but I feel that, I'm better. I don't need to take this anymore. I stop taking it, and I go all the way back to the beginning. I have done that in the past. The Depakote, the Seroquel, and the Lexapro were 3 medications that I actually tried really hard to stay on. I was on Depakote for 2 years. Seroquel I was on for almost a year. And then the Lexapro, when it started giving, I was feeling good. I felt motivated. I felt amazing. And then all of a sudden it was like a light switch. It switched, and I started having the suicidal ideation. And I was scared that if I stayed on that medication, that I was going to do something that went from being a thought to actually reality, and it scared the holy bejesus out of me. So I had to take myself off of it, and so now I'm just, like I said, waiting for the doctor to get back to me, but I'm gonna have to keep pushing, to get get the doctor to call me back. Oh, and I see Gramps Pine said, "Man, I miss Fruit Loops. That's my favorite cereal." Well, when it comes to my mind, if people ask, "Well, what kind of cereal do you feel like?" and I always say Fruit Loops. So, Lucky Charms and Fruity Pebbles are my favorite cereals, but Fruit Loops is my favorite way of explaining sometimes how I feel. So,
The
um,
raccoon sure loved the Fruit Loops.
oh yeah, I know they love food. They love
They were like scooping
eating.
them up by handfuls. They were grabbing like three or four and shoving them in and like just eating them. It was hilarious.
And and it's funny too because when Hank came into our life, um, I didn't know anything about raccoons. Like I had never seen one up close and personal like that. And so I did some research, and when it said that they wash their food, I did. I'm guilty of going out and buying him his own shiny silver bowl and his own little food dish. And I would fill it up with fresh water every night. And it was like clockwork. We think he lived underneath our deck because we would go into the camper um almost the same time every night, except for the weekends. But it was like clockwork. As soon as he heard our screen door close and we were inside the camper, he would come out and he would eat and drink. Now I have pictures of him and I just don't know exactly where they are at the moment. Um, so let me see if I can find them while we're talking. Um, but he was awesome, and I miss him. When we left and we dug or took apart our deck, we actually found him. He had passed away underneath our deck, but I think he was old, and so at least I was very heartbroken. But at the same time, I look at it as at least he knew what kind people were, and also I felt that I had showed him a lot of love, and at least he got to experience that. And so, as hard as it was for me to lose him, um, I knew that the last couple years of his life, he was in his glory. And so he also started bringing other raccoons around. Um, he brought one that we named Bandit because he decided that he was going to raid our refrigerator in the shed. And so he, and I got blamed for it. Um, but and Tommy was mad at me because I got yelled at because we bought $100 worth of lunch meat and other meats to have for a cookout that weekend. And we put them in the fridge. And that's when we learned that we had to have a lock on our refrigerator door. But Tommy was mad at me because he thought I had left the refrigerator door open. And so he would talk to me. And then, because he was pretty mad. I was pretty mad too because I knew I had shut that refrigerator door. But then we found out that it was this little raccoon. Um, he uh, he was something else. I'm trying to see if I can find the um, pictures of him. I have so many pictures. It's not even funny. Hello, Craig. Welcome. Uh, was it in here? Nope, those are Tommy and his brother. Um, but yeah, I have some really good pictures of Hank sitting on our table eating out of his food and water dish. and I just gotta find the pictures because I can show you how big he was. But of course, I can never figure out where anything is in my stuff because I always forget that I try to label everything and label it the wrong thing. You have a squirrel feeder for peanuts. You know, that's pretty awesome. We have, okay, so what color squirrels do you have by you? We actually have black squirrels. We have a black squirrel with a red tail. We have brown or red squirrels, gray squirrels. We also have I think it's half albino or something because it's half white and half black. We have an all white one running around. We have like all different colors of squirrels around here. And a lot of people trip out because they've never seen all the colors of the squirrels that we have here. People that have come and visited, they're like, I've never seen a black squirrel before, and stuff like that.
I've never seen a black squirrel before. We have some that are like a brownish red color, and
Mm-hmm.
we have some that are like a grayish color, and that's that.
Yeah, I've tried. I really tried to get pictures of
Oh yeah, good luck.
family in Florida. Yeah, see, that's what I where I grew up in Clintonville, we had nothing but um, gray squirrels. So I didn't know that there were um, different color squirrels till we moved here. And that is definitely one thing I'm going to miss about being around here is all the different color squirrels that we have.
Have you guys decided where you're going yet?
No,
I'm
it's,
telling you, do not come to Missouri. Like it's so lame and boring here. Do not come here. It's
and
called misery for a reason. Just saying. I'm only here because I feel I have to be. My children are not 18.
right. You
But
know,
I'm telling you, as soon as my 12-year-old, she'll be 13 this year. So I have 5 years after this year. I don't know where I'm going, but this state is going to be in my rearview mirror.
and that's how I feel about Wisconsin, honestly. I we moved here when I was 11, and I just I just don't like Wisconsin. I miss my family in Florida. I miss um, just everything about Florida. But because of the fact that Tommy has the arthritis that he does, we actually have to go there to visit to find out how his arthritis will um, how it will behave or how it will act while in Florida because I'd hate to move there and then find out that it's bad for him. So wherever
You
we live,
know,
it has to be friendly.
sorry.
That's okay. It has to be friendly um, for Tommy and his arthritis.
When we went to Florida, I sat in the car for 17 hours. So, that pain that I was in last week,
Mm-hmm.
it was, I could still walk. So it wasn't like as bad as you've seen it, like me laying in bed because I couldn't get up.
Right.
But once we got there, and I didn't even, the water made it to my knees in the ocean because I was terrified of what was going to try to eat me.
Yeah.
It was a lot to take in. I'd never seen the ocean. That was like very, very intimidated by all that water.
Yeah, it is, and it's got a strong current.
Yeah, I know it. It knocked me on my butt. If my dad wasn't there, I like probably would have panicked. He had me like all I know is my head went under and his hands were under my arms, picking me up like I was a toddler again. And I didn't even know what the heck just happened because it happened so fast.
Yeah.
And after that, I was just like, forget that. It didn't go any further than my ankles after that.
See, and that's the thing, at least I mean, different reasons, but pretty darn close to the same phobia as I do with water. Um, when all that stuff happened with me when I was younger, I I didn't like the water. I have a huge phobia of water, and so I will take a shower. I will swim in a swimming pool. I will sit in a hot tub. But don't ask me to go into a lake. Don't ask me to go into a river. Don't ask me to go into the ocean.
See, my thing is if it's, I don't know how to swim, for one.
Okay.
And for two, if it is past like the top part of my ribs, I'm not going any further. And I am a little bit weirded out by some. I won't go into a river. I don't know what the heck's in that thing. I am not doing it. The lake where our campsite is, I'll go into it, but there's like 7 lakes and there's only one that I'll actually get in.
Okay.
And the only thing I have to watch for in that one is a turtle that lives in the rocks. He's been there for like 15 years now. That's his home. I stay away from the rocks. He stays away from me. Like we have an agreement. But I won't go too far into it. Like my kids, they'll go swim to the dock that's like 15 feet out, and the water there is like I think it's 10 foot deep. And the whole time I'm watching them, like, what am I gonna do? I can't swim.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do to help them if they need it? But they are 12, 13, 16, and 17, so they kind of watch out for each other.
See,
They're better swimmers than I am for sure.
yeah, and that's always a good thing. I'm really lucky that um, Tommy's a really good swimmer.
Yep.
I actually had to teach myself how to swim because I didn't know how to swim, and I didn't want to. I was definitely not one that wanted to um, be in the water, so I never thought it was important to go swimming or to
I'm
do
only I
that.
only like the water that you shower with.
Yeah.
That's the other stuff I could live without. Like walking at the zoo and they have the misters on. I love those. But when
Okay.
it comes to like going into a pool, I don't care if it's clean or not. That has nothing to do with it. It's I have a fear of water because I can't swim.
Hmm.
And like my fiance, he's gave me pointers. He's like, let's work on it. Nobody's here. It's just me and you. And I'm just like, it's not that I don't want to learn. It's when I start to even try, my anxiety is like smacking me in the face. And I just can't do it without a panic.
Yep.
And I trust him, but I don't trust the water.
Yeah, you never know what's in there.
Right.
Crazy. Oops. Yeah, I can't seem to find that picture, but I will definitely have to look for it and I'll have to show everybody. I'm going to write that down. Um, although my arm is better this week, the swelling went down and I'm good. I didn't go and do anything strenuous with it. So I was very happy that it went down. So,
Your package went out yesterday,
oh, okay, cool.
and there's a bottle of. It's kind of like icy hot Bengay, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It's the all natural stuff I was talking about.
Okay.
I love it. Doesn't work for my sciatic nerve, but it works for everything else.
I'm going to try it.
I mean, the worst, it might not take it
all the way away, but if it's like really, like if it's a muscle and it's really tense, it does help loosen it up. So it kind of, it's not like, fixes the problem because it's not going to do that, but it does help with the, really helps with muscle spasms.
So Cindy says that she loves Florida, but she's originally from Minnesota. She had horrible problems with her arthritis in Minnesota, and she has lupus, and she would never go back to Minnesota. And she don't like the water either, but it's calming to look at, of course. And that's the thing. I'm a Pisces. I should be like all for water, but Crystal says I used to surf. Then I had a brush with a big fish or shark. Don't know, and I never and she never got back at me.
That makes sense because you just said you're a Pisces.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo, so that means I'm a lion, and that makes sense why I don't like water.
Yeah, but I'm a Pisces. I'm supposed to like water. It's kind of
that doesn't make sense.
Or the yin yang fish, or however you do it. Yeah, I should love water, and I used to love water. And I mean, when I was little, I had my little floaties on, and I go in the water, and I had no problems until that day. And then it scared the holy tar out of me, and it's stuck with me ever since. Crystal says she's Leo and she loves water. Cindy says I worry about snakes and alligators. Yeah. Gators are something else, man. I remember when we were in Florida, my family's friends, they were like aunts and stuff, or an aunt to us and stuff like that, and cousins, and the neighbor's dog used to go, they lived on a lake, and nobody was allowed to go in the lake because there were so many gators. But their neighbors, they were telling us that their neighbors would have a dog, and then they'd let it out to go to the bathroom. They'd have it for a couple days, and then all of a sudden it would disappear. And they would keep dogs. We were there, and a little doggy got snatched off the shore, and that was the day that I realized, yeah, we're not going in that water. We're not going near that water. And I understood why, my aunt and my family were like, no, you guys aren't going near the water. Hello, Kelsey. Welcome. So yeah, I am good with no. We went to Busch Gardens in Florida too, and I remember going over this really high bridge and looking down, and them explaining to us the alligators and stuff. And it was feeding time, and they had like the world's biggest gator. I don't know how big it was. I just know that it was the world's biggest alligator. And when they put it from it was directly across from us. We were really high up on the bridge, and this gator came out and snatched that food out of the air. And as little kids, yes, things seem so much bigger than they really are. But let me tell you, that gator's tail was still on the ground. And I swear we were like 50 feet up in the air. That's what it felt like. But I mean, he was humongous. Nope, I'm good. I'm good. And then Cindy said too, her sciatic is horrible. And that's what you were just dealing with, weren't you, Amy?
Yes. The doctor put me on some, I didn't think it would work. I have a fear of taking certain medications and anything that's habit forming, because I do have an addiction issue.
and he put me on muscle relaxers and Tylenol 3 with codeine. There's something about that that freaks me out. I know it's like a small type of pain pill, but when you have an addiction, they
Mhm.
might as well just give me a bathtub full of them. But I actually did good. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need another one. But it did help. It took a couple doses to be able to move better. But yeah, there's really nothing that helps. I think when it comes to muscle relaxers and pain pills, I think it just made me so loopy that I just didn't care.
Yeah, I'm not one for meds. I really am not. Even when I absolutely need them. Like so when my spleen happened, the nurse would come in and yell at me because I wasn't hitting the pain button like I was supposed to, and the pain would get really intense, and I would get yelled at for not pushing that pain button. And but I was still so out of it that um I wasn't really comprehending reality at that point. And so I had to give consent for the nurse to come in and push that button when I was supposed to have the medicine, because I was just so out of it that I was like, yeah, I don't care, because I just, if you think about it, somebody who doesn't really do the whole pain meds thing, and then you're forced to be on this because you had a major surgery. Yeah, my brain was all over the place. Um,
I had a really bad tooth infection and I was hospitalized for it. So, they're like IV antibiotics is going to work faster, which it did. One side of my face, I looked like one of the Who's from the Grinch. It was so puffy and shiny. Yeah,
wow.
it was like, it was crazy. But they had me on some really strong antibiotics through an IV. Plus, I was taking them orally.
Hmm.
But they also had me on Dilaudid, I think it was. And for some reason, they were surprised it didn't knock me out.
Yeah.
And the nurse comes in to make sure I'm doing okay, check my vitals, all that. And I'm like, why are you guys dressed like flowers? I was hallucinating the nurses and the doctors all dressed as different types of flowers. And she goes, have you slept since your last dose? And I'm like, no. And she goes, close your eyes and get some rest. I am not dressed like a flower. Then I start freaking out because I'm not one to like that kind of thing ever. So seeing things that aren't really there was freaking me out.
It just made
So
me think of a story from my daughter.
I had taken a nap, and then when I woke up, like I'm sitting up in my bed and I'm looking straight in front of me. And it's just a wall, but the flowers on the wall were like dancing with each other like humans. They had arms and legs, and oh gosh, I was laughing because I had forgot that I even talked to the nurse. And
Hmm.
I'm like, that's really funny how these flowers keep dancing. And the nurse is like, am I still dressed like a flower? I'm like, what are you talking about? So confused.
Real quick, I want to thank Big Girls Really Do Cry for coming in, and it was no problem. I saw she was on earlier, and I absolutely love her. She's awesome. She's from across the pond. So if you guys aren't up to her, go check her out. She's awesome. Um, really amazing person for sure. And I believe she's been on with us on the panel before. So make sure you guys check her out because she's pretty cool. They were doing a 90s song trivia this morning. Um, and I came in an Aqua song and I was jamming to it. I loved it. I absolutely love Aqua.
Which song was that?
It was, oh no, I can't remember because I had all of them. I had to go and listen to them all afterwards.
See, we do here. That's another thing on my skincare page. I love doing trivia like that
Hmm.
because I've learned that the the 60s were it was okay when it comes to trivia. Like white people really liked it. Some of them liked it more than others. Like the younger generation on there was just like, "Who is that again?" But
Okay, she put in chat Dr. Jones, and I was outside jamming that while I was getting ready. Oh, I love Aqua. I
you know
can't.
that song I sent you? Was it yesterday or the day before? Whatever day that was.
What's that?
The song that I sent you the link for.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, so when you originally sent me the link for your show, I was jamming out to that, and my neighbor told me to turn that shit down, so I turned it up.
Let's not.
You know, you can ask me nicely if you say, "Will you turn that down?" It's kind of loud. I'll turn it down. But if you're gonna cuss at me, I'm just gonna turn it up and be that person.
She says, I like the way you say aqua.
How is this supposed to be said?
I don't know, but I've had other people say that I say it kind of weird too, but in a good way.
Is that the same band that does the song Barbie
Yeah, I'm
whatever?
a Barbie girl. Yep.
Yeah, that
Yeah, they
one.
have quite a
That
few.
song's so bad.
It is so
I
bad,
didn't realize
so
it.
right in so many
My
ways.
child was singing it yesterday. I'm driving to my mom's, and she's in the back singing "Wrapped in Plastic." It's fantastic, and I'm like, "What? Hold on, what?" And she goes, "Mom, it's that song." And then she starts singing more. And when she gets to the "Undress Me Everywhere," I'm like, "Okay, stop. That song is so inappropriate for you." She goes, "I'm almost 14," and I said, "It's still inappropriate. It's inappropriate for me, okay?"
Mama doesn't want to hear her kids singing that.
And I didn't realize. I mean, okay, face reality, I did realize how bad Fergie is, but I
Yeah, you
didn't
never
realize
know.
the extent of it until they were singing it one day. But they were a lot younger. I think they were
Yeah.
like 7 and 8 singing Fergalicious, and I'm like, oh my. I have failed as a parent. So that's when we started listening to 80s and 90s music.
He says, it's so bad, it's good. LOL. Proper cheesy pop. Yep. For
That's
sure.
true.
And Cindy says, it's such a catchy tune. Of course, it rocks. Like I love like the different songs. Like, okay, so I have to make some CDs for my truck, right? And one of them is gonna be Aqua. I have decided. And I don't care what people around here think. I'm gonna crank that sucker and jam out to it.
Make your windows vibrate.
Make their windows vibrate. Because we have a system that's gonna go in my truck and we have one for Tommy's truck. And I should record it. Everybody's looks as I'm jamming it down through town. Hey, if I have to listen to a crappy rap that talks about inappropriate things, too
All
much.
music talks about inappropriate things. It's just how they word it.
Well, country hip hop isn't really like that. Like I
Yeah, it is. It's just talking
understand.
about it in a different sense.
Yeah, but it's more appropriate the way that the country hip hoppers do it
Right.
than
That's what I'm saying. It's the wording. They're not saying F this and she's a B and she's my hoe,
right.
nothing like that. But I mean, they say it just in different words.
Yeah, that's very true. But I can at least understand. But like 2 doors down, they like
And
blare
as
their
long as my kids aren't listening to people like Cardi B, I'm good.
see, and I don't mind Carly
No,
B.
her
Just
voice is
not.
so bad.
I just don't think it's appropriate for
Heather.
children to listen to
Hello.
it. Hello,
Hi,
dear.
Heather.
Hello, who are we talking about?
Carly B.
Cardi B and how bad her music is.
Oh, you know what? I know the name. I don't know what she looks like, and I don't know her music at all.
She came from like Basketball Wives or some crap like that. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Like,
Or
are
maybe
like
she was on it.
Desperate Housewives? Or whatever that, or what is the wives
She's
of,
annoying and she's dirty. She needs a shower. Dirty.
oh, that's gross. Ew.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
dirty.
but she's getting better since she had her baby.
Yeah, I'm not giving her a
She's
chance.
gotten a
No
lot better.
thanks.
And she's in the song "Girls Like You" with Maroon 5. She's in a couple other video. It's an Ed Sheeran song. She's in as a singer, an extra, like a cameo or whatever of it. It's. I mean, she's not everybody's taste, but it's definitely
Oh,
something that I would want my children to be cranking up and listening to. So,
I googled her. She looks like a Kardashian. You can tell. You can tell I'm a Star Trek fan. Oh, I don't have my YouTube on. Whose volume is messing up?
That's mine.
Oh, okay.
she's getting.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's because I have a speaker on my phone and a speaker on my earbuds, and I have taped toilet paper around the speaker on my phone to help. That's why it's not so bad.
We are keeping it classy today.
oh yeah.
Right. Hey, I live in Missouri. Everything here's redneck. Why not?
Same here where I live.
Isn't it so wild how, our United States, but when you go from one state to the next, how there just are quirks and habits and behaviors that are so different that it's like, how did it all happen?
Mm-hmm.
I tell everyone who's never been to Utah, it's just like, just be prepared for this being, just there's no words for it to explain Utah. You just have to come here and see the level of conservatism.
And that's the
You're in Utah?
I'm in Utah.
I've never been to that side of the country. I've
And
never really been too many places in the country, but I
I've
know
been
from like here in Illinois, there's a bit of a difference. Like Illinois is more like farms, like animal farms and like, corn and wheat kind of farms all together. And then you go to Tennessee and it's like, we didn't really go too far in Tennessee. We kind of just like drove through it. So I didn't really see Tennessee too much. The next state I remember stopping in because I fell asleep was Georgia. And there was like, the scenery is different. The mood down there, it like changes your whole mood, not just like, I don't know. It wasn't what I was expecting. And then we get to Florida and I can't see the ocean because it's dark, but I can hear it. And it went from like me being like, oh my gosh, I have to get out of this car, panic, gonna lose my cool, to that is so calming. It sounds like it's fighting with itself.
So
It's just like a huge difference.
I have been to Indiana. So in the Indianapolis area. So that's the closest to you I've ever been.
And from my understanding, it's not, I mean, we have different things, like different types of buildings and stuff, but it's not much different from what I was understanding. I've never been there either. But I have an aunt that used to live there and she goes, Missouri, Indiana, whatever, it's about the same thing.
People in Indiana were very friendly, very casual.
You find your parts of Missouri that have people, that have people that are nice. Like if you go down by Springfield and Branson, closer to Arkansas, where it's more tourist area, like people are nice. But if you're up here in the city, they'll flip you off if you just look their direction.
Oh, that's right. I've also been to Nashville. I'm looking at the map.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share my screen I have a map up.
Here, let me go back to you.
There we go. So that way people can follow along as well.
Dwayne, he knows geography, and he learned in school. I didn't. So yeah, when I have to look up everything that's not the western side, he laughs at me.
You see where the I is in Missouri? Like the actual word on there?
Oh, yeah, right here.
That's roughly where I live. Right there in Missouri.
So for Utah, look at the Great Salt Lake.
Right here.
And we are, I know that we're east of it. I gotta put my glasses on so I can look here. So, okay, the map I'm looking at, because I can blow it up bigger. I'm on Google Map. There's the major freeways also on the map, and so the major freeway, that goes right through where most people in Utah live. Is right there, and north and east of the Great Salt Lake.
When we went to Nevada, so we left Wisconsin, Iowa, and I did not get along. I had to take a Benadryl because I was so miserable, and something in Iowa that was blooming.
What season was it? Spring when you did this road trip?
No, we went the end of June. Beginning of or the end of June we went. So whatever season that was, it like something was blooming, and I was like I couldn't see.
So June going into summer.
Yeah. So I take a Benadryl. I slept all through Nebraska.
Oh, funny.
We got into Colorado. I was still kind of sleeping a little bit. Tommy's cousin is John Denver.
Awesome.
And I asked him when we got to Denver if they named him Denver after his cousin. I didn't know. And he just laughed at me. He's like, no, Denver's been there a lot longer than my cousin has. And then we went through Utah, and I don't know where or how long we were in Utah. We ended up hitting some of, I think, Arizona, and then we were in Nevada. And so yeah, it was crazy, and that's the farthest I've been. I've never been to California, Oregon, Washington, all these other places. But
I've never been to Washington, Oregon. I can't believe it. I lived in Northern California. I'd never even made it to Oregon.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in Missouri. Now I'm trying to look here. So when we came up from Florida, when we moved up here from Florida, we went through Georgia, some of Alabama, Tennessee, some of Kentucky, Illinois, which is one of the most boring drives. There's like nothing. Nothing. And then to Wisconsin. I've been to some place up here in Upper Michigan, but that's about, and I lived in North Carolina as a kid.
Yeah, I've been to North and South Carolina.
So I've been this way, but I haven't been to any of these here. I've never been to some of these other states. But Tommy wants to take me on a road trip where we get to go through all the states. And the only state he has never been in is Maine. So that is one place we want to go together for the first time.
I've heard that that's really pretty. Of course, you got to hit it the right season.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome. How are you?
I'm better. My day's getting better, so I'm happy. Oh,
I had to put my glasses on to see what it said with your name there. The big girls really do cry.
Yeah.
And
You know when
where
you were saying aqua,
yeah, I love
it's
that.
because here that sounds quite posh. So it's aqua, like I would say aqua, but when you say aqua, it sounds posh here. So probably something more like the Queen's English. I'm not like the Queen, obviously.
so where are you at?
I live on the northeast coast of England, right in a place called Sunderland.
Okay.
So it's about I'm nearer Newcastle. I'm nearer Scotland than I am London,
Oh,
basically.
how interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
it's
Amy said that real quick. Amy said that her phone decided that she was done. Her phone must have died.
That happens. Yeah, that happens. Electronics
yeah. I
decide.
have that issue with.
And yeah, whenever I talk with my sister that lives in southern Utah, our phone calls always cut out. And it's only when we're talking to each other. And I told her it's because the government's listening. We don't even get that political, so.
Oh,
But,
oh. So how are you doing?
Me, did you say?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm really good. I didn't think like the whole lockdown thing was bothering us for a while, but I realised that actually it is, because I do spend a lot of time in bed anyway. Because obviously I'm only in the wheelchair, kind of like 4 to 6 hours a day usually. So the rest of the time I'm in bed because my legs have to be up. So um, it's I didn't think it would bother us, but it's kind of stopped my progress. So for about 3 weeks, I had a bit of a very up and down. I was like, every day I was very up and down, where I was kind of like, my mood would drop at the littlest thing. You know, I'd drop something on the floor and I'd be like, you know what I mean? It'd be like the worst thing ever, or whatever. But getting there, getting better. I just kind of wrote it all down and it emptied my head, which helped.
As long as you're moving forward, and you're doing much better, that is great to hear. I hate setbacks. I can still relate on that level. But I'm really happy to hear that you're getting, moving forward instead of backwards. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's better now. I think just sort of emptying my head helped, even if it didn't make sense to anyone else or whatever. I think just sort of writing it all down on paper and just like it just so helped.
And yeah, keeping in a positive frame of mind is very difficult sometimes.
Definitely.
I feel like it's a war inside my head that it's never gonna end. And some days the positive overtakes the negative, and then other days the negative overtakes the positive, and the positive's fighting to try to be number one, and it's just an ever-ending war.
And that's when it's time
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, and that's when it's time for me to readjust my antipsychotics.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the doctor to get back to me.
Oh boy.
I think for me, like my whole life was negative, like for so long, for years and years. I had a negative attitude about myself. I had a negative attitude about everything. I mean, my cup wasn't half full. It wasn't even. It was smashed somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It was like I just didn't have one, and everything was negative. And so for me, I've been like as I've got better and things have progressed, and I've went through a lot of my demons. I've been a really positive person, I think. So this bit here where I had them negatives again that were affecting each day, whereas usually they might have affected us once every few months. It was affecting us every day. It was quite scary because I felt, oh my God, am I going to go back to where I was? You know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't, but you just have that fear, don't you? But
Yeah.
yeah, it was fine anyway.
No,
Yeah,
once you've been to the edge emotionally, you always have a fear of returning.
No.
totally. Yeah,
It never ever leaves you, and you don't walk away from the edge and be the person you were before.
No.
no,
No, it changes you forever. And that's something that you hope that people you care about never experience.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
And because, yeah, my darkest moment, there I was, I was like dangling off the edge, gripping on with everything I had left in me and seriously considering letting go. And, yep, never been the same.
Yeah. It's
And then when you experience something like that, you try to do everything for your children to never have that happen to them.
yeah.
Thing
For
is,
sure.
you can't really, can you? You know, you, it's not
Yeah,
something one you can. I mean, you can explain it, but unless you go through it, you don't understand it. I don't
oh,
think.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. My daughter is also bipolar, and it's not really managed. And Dwayne and I were talking about it, and he's like, "What is it going to take for her to be serious about managing it?" And I'm like, "I hate to say it, but she might have to go to a really ugly place first." And
Mm.
the one thing, though, is we know that she has bipolar. I didn't know that I was. When I found out, I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." But
I don't know how old you are, Heather, but like obviously a lot of things weren't said, whether even if you go back 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
oh yeah, I was in my mid-30s when I found out. So, but I saw the signs in my daughter from the time she was a kid that I didn't feel like she was showing full bipolar yet, but I just saw the building
Yeah,
blocks leading to being bipolar. And so, and I didn't say anything when she was still young because you don't need to put that on your kids. But and
no,
then as she got to be a teenager, and probably about the same age I was when I figured my bipolar behavior started, we display it very differently from each other, but that's bipolar.
I
So
suppose going through puberty is probably when it hits you harder,
yeah,
having
absolutely.
that as well to contend with.
Hmm.
Never be good.
And life certainly wasn't perfect, but Dwayne and I did provide more stability for our kids than what I had, and so I that does help. And
Definitely.
and I always try to. I've always tried to have a level of acceptance of my children. There certainly were times where the behavior was not acceptable, but
Yeah.
not telling them that their feelings weren't, appropriate,
Hmm.
but how they were displaying them. But as far as them as
Yeah.
people overall, always showing them acceptance and love, of course.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes it's really, really hard to try to figure out the thin line between understanding and being upset with their behaviors and trying to figure out how to correct it.
yeah, yep. And each kid is different.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know, my son, I've talked about him before with the issues that we've had. And this morning, more issues. It's like we go through what they call the honeymoon period where he's really good. We have no issues. At least that we can see, and then bam, just it's like hitting a brick wall, you know. And it it's not okay for what he's doing, but I wish we could figure out a way to correct it, because everything that we have tried doesn't help. And we've had counselors come in to the home and try to work with him. He's gone to counseling to a professional place, you know, and nothing seems to work. And counseling just makes it worse. Counseling makes things so much worse. And it's like, how do you, now I'm not saying that my son has mental health issues. He could just be completely 100% a punk, but you know, how there's that fine line where is he just being a punk, or is there something really mentally going on that we just don't know how to correct?
Yeah.
And so so from what I understand, you know, um, because of my depression and because of my anxiety, and then on his biological father's side, there's a lot of bipolar, a lot of bipolar, a lot of mental health issues. Um, and I don't know all the diagnosis, but there's a lot of things going on his biological father's side. So one of the kids is, you know, unfortunately, possibly could have a mental health issue. And so I just wish I knew how to correct it and get him to understand that what he's doing isn't okay. You know, because I don't want to say I understand what you're doing, but because we've gone as far as saying, you know, we understand that you're going through something, but it's not okay how you're behaving, and it just makes things worse. And so it's like, I don't know how to get to the point where we can shut that off. So he stops doing the things that he's doing, because it costs money, the things that he's doing. It costs us money that we don't have. And so it's frustrating that I'm not able to, and Tommy's not able to get him to snap out of these things. And nobody, the professionals, all that, nobody's been able to help them. Every time we try to confront it, every time we put our foot down, every time we try this or we try that, it just makes things worse. And I don't know why. And
I had similar issues with my son. He was eventually diagnosed with ADHD when he was 14, but he would do things on the spur of the moment and not think about it. And some of those things cost me money in the end as well. And he would be just so angry at everything. Like it was really hard to like get through to him. And it wasn't really until he sort of grew up himself. Like, I mean, he's 26 now.
I would not have guessed that you have a 26-year-old.
I wouldn't either.
27 this year.
I was picturing young kids as you're talking about them.
No, he's 27 this year, and my daughter's 23. But yeah, he had a really hard time. He struggled with school and the strict curriculum, because he struggled with a lot of the work, so like English and things. And it all just came out in anger in the end, you know. But it wasn't until he sort of got to about 19, I think, and he accepted things, and he started to calm a bit down and stuff like that. I mean, he wasn't getting in trouble. He was 15 when he stopped getting in real trouble. But yeah, it's hard, definitely.
Let's see. I have my latest picture of my oldest son, because he's very creative, and so is his wife, and so they they sent pictures of the projects they've been working on. But yeah, my oldest, he has started college, and he's like, Mom, because his wife has finished college, and so now it's his turn, and he's like, why didn't you tell me I'm ADHD? I'm like, are you serious? We had you tested as a kid, but I didn't medicate him. Having ADHD was a given. There was no way that my boys weren't going to have it. I knew that before they were born. But his grades were good enough, so we didn't. And his we didn't medicate him. But my youngest son, he couldn't learn without medication. So
yeah, I tried with the medication, fine, and it made him massive because he had no concentration whatsoever. Like no, he couldn't do anything. He was constantly. If he was sitting next to you, he would prod you, he would poke you, he would pull things, he would touch stuff, he would shake, he would, you know what I mean, all those things. And he was failing in school apart from maths. Maths and PE were the only sort of things that he liked. And then, I obviously took the decision.
There's my oldest working on. They were doing stuff with porcupine quills. I'll show you what they did. But this is Ian. Yeah, and he came out that size. And let's see, where's okay. There. Here is the piece that he did when it was finished. So that's porcupine quills.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, and then
what exactly is that?
The quills, yeah, and then you design them in a pattern, and he put his in a frame there, and then here, looking for my daughter-in-law's. Here's hers, and then we have our family group chat, which I just love that we do that because then I actually hear what's happening with my children. And this is my daughter-in-law's cat. That's the one she made. So I think they're both just beautiful. But yeah, it's way cool that they have fun being creative together. Ian's father is very creative as well, and we used to do projects a little bit. See if we would have just kept it at that and had a kid and never got married, you know.
That's my son.
Oh, very handsome.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's a big guy too.
Yeah, he is. He's like 6 foot tall as well. So he's. I'm just find my daughter picture. 1 second.
And then, my son is into. I don't know if he's been doing it right now or not. He goes through his phases of powerlifting.
I'm hoping that my kids, like Jaslyn, I'm not so worried about. I think she's going to be tall. I think she's going to be very active. She's interested in everything and anything that has to do with the world, and she's curious. And she's also somebody who, she wants to be the best at everything. And she's not the best at everything, but she is willing to give all she has to become the best at whatever she's working on or doing. Where my son, on the other hand, it's a whole different ballgame, and it's frustrating, it's heartbreaking, and I just
that is very hard. And this is your daughter. Oh, how pretty! Pull it back just a tiny bit. Yeah, it's kind of a nope. That didn't make it any better. She's beautiful.
She loves doing makeup. She's likes doing makeup and stuff.
My daughter does that too. She'll go on YouTube and learn stuff and do fancy makeup. She did that.
It was like Beetlejuice inspired.
So. Is that her goth moment there?
Yeah, she was doing a Beetlejuice inspired.
Yes, I thought Beetlejuice when I saw the stripes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Someone said, "Oh, I love what you're wearing." And she went, "Oh, thanks." And she went, "Are you a mermaid?" And my daughter was like, No. But it's funny.
Yeah, I don't think I have any recent pictures of my daughter. Oh, here's let's see, somewhere around. There's one. Is that it? No. There's my daughter's quilt. She took a picture of it and posted it in the family group chat because she and her boyfriend were arguing over what color it was. And so she took a picture of it. I'm trying to find. You had the one. So here's my son's car out at the salt flats. They do a thing in the spring out there. This is his project car. It's, I don't know. It's from the 80s. So that's his project. So like his father, he's both creative and can do things like work on cars. You know, a lot of people are either creative or more mathematical. And his father was the most equal out of anyone I've ever met. And Ian is very much like his dad. As a child, he preferred his creative side. So instead of having anger, Ian got through and still gets through life because he is a fast learner and he's tall and handsome and he is charming and full of shit. Not as far as lying, but just his charm.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, this is my daughter. She just
cute.
You know,
she's lovely.
Rolls out of bed and just wants to go. You know,
I can see you in her.
Yeah, you can cut. Yeah.
Yes.
She looks just like my mom, actually.
Like you.
She's got pink hair now, which I forgot to take a picture of. We were trying to turn her hair hot pink, and the bottom half of her hair didn't want to take all the hair dye, so she's got blonde streaks with pink streaks and dark on top. So yeah, but she loves it, and so she's a trip. I mean, let me see if I can find the other picture that I have of her with Mr. Pickles, actually. Here we go. This is how her and Mr. Pickles are.
Oh, look at that.
And her blanket, and I mean, he's warming up to her, and she's able to do it, reach in the cage like I can, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean, but she wanted to go fishing today, so that's why she's not here. She is fishing with Tommy and loving every minute of it. I bought her a new fishing equipment, so she had to go check it out. And Tommy's getting really good at.
I'm gonna have to jump out because it's 7:25 here, so we're gonna get something to eat. But it's been lovely to speak to you again, and I'm sure I'll be back in the chat at some point.
It's been great.
And nice to meet you, Heather.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.
So I think we're gonna actually head her out. I need to get some stuff done.
Okay. Yeah, I just woke up minutes before I came on. So
it's all good. It's all good. Cindy, I was told he was a monk parrot. Some call it bungee, depending on where you're at. He's a Quaker parrot, and he's awesome. I absolutely love him. He has been a blessing to me since I've gotten him back in July, I mean. And so I've had him for about 10 months, and right now he's upstairs because he wouldn't stop squawking. He wanted attention, but he knows that on Saturdays I do a live, and he's being sassy. So he had to go on a timeout. Even my birds get timeout when they absolutely have to have a timeout. I even put myself on a timeout when I know I'm not doing good.
Oh, absolutely. So I found the picture I was looking for. This is my son and his wife when they were out there at the salt flats. They're
wow.
back his So there, I found it. And at first I'm like, what are we talking about? Then I'm like, oh, we're talking about your bird.
Yeah, that's all right. It's okay. And that's a thing. But we're gonna head her out. Thank you everybody who came in and shared and was here. Much love to you. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will be live with Tommy 2.0, aka The Bargain Effect, for our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning live. We just talk about anything and everything. Let me find Tommy's link real quick, and I can drop that in the link or in the chat. If you are not subbed to him, please do. You never know what's going to happen. It's a open mic channel type thing. And we're kind of waking up and drinking our coffee and talking about whatever. So it's pretty fun. We started it about a week ago, a little over a week ago, something like that. It's there we go. So but hope to see you guys there. We'll be back next week at 11 a.m. Central Time. So I hope to see you guys then as well. The 23rd, real quick, the 23rd of May is going to be a really, really big day for me. It's my 1 year anniversary from when my spleen exploded and I almost lost my life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, how it's affected my mental health, give you guys a little bit of update, show some pictures from then, and stuff like that. And so hope to see you guys there as well. And with that, I think we're going to head out. Do you have any announcements, Heather?
Dwayne's going to be furloughed for a couple of weeks.
I do what?
Not working.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So is he going to be even more sassy than normal?
I told him to come up with a list of things he's going to work on. We think we'll be okay financially. That's confidence there, isn't it? So it's because I had said something about that I was having guilt because we were doing fine, and so you know how the universe has to balance itself.
Yeah, it usually does. Usually does. But...
So because he's essential, his job, but the contracts with his company, those companies are running low on funds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, even if you are essential, if the money's not there to pay you.
Right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So look, I'll add you guys to my prayer list too.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind. But yeah, other than that, and right now he's out doing yard work. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe, I don't know. So something inspired him to go work on the yard. I'm not complaining. I should probably go out there too.
Because Tommy, with this whole thing with the lockdown, it gets frustrating, especially when things go the way they did this morning. I'm just like, go fishing, go do your fishing, because that's one way that he relaxes. And so it's like I'm always encouraging him to go fishing or, do what he needs to do so that, mentally he's okay. And so he's not somebody who suffers from mental illness, but he is somebody who gets frustrated and from not being able to help or change the situation.
Sure.
And so, So a lot of
You know,
times, what's that?
oh, life looks a lot different when the kids get older. It really, really does. I
I
promise.
sure hope so. I sure hope so. So, all right, with that, we will see you guys next week at 11 a.m. Central Time. Much love. Have a beautiful week. And again, 8:45 p.m. Central or 8:45 a.m. Central Time on Tommy's channel on Monday. I think I got it. Much love, everybody. Have a great day.
See ya.